All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Let's begin. Welcome to this TechTALK webinar, the last one of this year. My name is Gabriel Sang, Product Specialist at Techdinamics, and today we're going to take about half an hour to review the techSHIP packages and their features and how these might be the best fit for your business needs. So these are the topics that we're going to share with you today. We're going to first talk a little bit about modularity and scalability, which are key elements for success. And then we're going to go through each techSHIP package in a cumulative way, from standard through plus, and finally to enterprise. So let's move forward. So modularity and scalability are two key elements that allows a business to succeed. First of all, modularity is a key element because when you don't have modularity in your products, you might end either stuck with a lot of features you're not going to use and that you might be paying for them. And on the other side, you could be on the other side of the aisle where you don't have enough features that can cover your needs and you need to buy a different product. So modularity is a key element and an important one within techSHIP because techSHIP allows this modularity. You don't need to buy the most expensive and complex package if you're barely starting operations, and vice versa. You don't need to build yourself through the most basic version up to the highest one if what you need is something in the middle. So modularity is a key element that allows you to make the best out of your money in techSHIP and at the same time cover as much as you need on your operational side. Scalability is also another key pillar for success, because if you cannot up or down scale, you might again end stuck by either paying for more than one product if you cannot upscale the way your business requires you so. And also, if you need to downscale, you might end up stuck paying for a product which you're not going to use to its highest potential, or that is just too expensive for your business flow at a particular point in time. So scalability is also a really important point that will allow you, in combination with modularity and, of course, the features of the product, to succeed. There are three base points for these two pillars. One of them is the additional features. So as you, if you view the modularity from, the additional features from a modularity standpoint, the capability of adding or removing features is quite important, because you might have a particular package contracted, but if you need some features from a different one, there's a possibility to do so within techSHIP. So you can make the best out of your current package, and with a plus, adding a couple more things that might get you have an edge over the competition. And if you take a look at the additional features from the scalability standpoint, this is really useful as well, because you can improve the way you do business as you add more features to your package. As for additional security, okay, the second point here. Modularity here is seen from a little bit of a different perspective. Why? Because you might need modular access to your platform. Okay, so maybe not everyone has the same role within the company using the product, and you might want to handle user permissions in a really specific way. If you have a regional manager, or if you have a packer at the packing line, these obviously would have different types of access to different modules of the platform. So additional security is part of that modularity as well. When it comes to scalability, this this is really important as well for additional security if you want to improve your security measures, okay? One important and one interesting feature of one of the packages, which we're going to see later, allows you to not only set arbitrarily which modules a user can access, but also under which groups of data they will have visibility over. So for example, if you have a client which would like to access your TechSHIP portal, you can give them a very limited access permission-wise and modular access to their own information, isolated from the rest of the clients in your profile, in your and in your portal. So this is something that can be super useful as well, taking off the burden from you to report to your customers as time moves forward over different requests and questions they might have. They can self-serve if they have this type of access. And then from additional locations, in terms of modularity and scalability, techSHIP allows you, depending on the package, to either add or remove or disable different locations. So if you need to scale up to, let's say right now you're handling 2 warehouses, you need to scale up to 3 or 4 to double your operations, you can perfectly do so in a seamless way without, well, with barely any effort when setting things up in techSHIP. So from a scalability standpoint, you can up or downscale in terms of the amount of locations you're handling, and then also the modularity of access to those locations. So let's start from the bottom. Let's start with techSHIP standard. techSHIP standard, and we're going to build part by part and feature by feature, is a solution designed for small parcel shipping, simplified, and with seamless integration to the systems that you might be using currently for warehouse management, okay? So that's the whole idea behind techSHIP standard, to give you a simple, powerful, and easy to use tool for you to cover all these items. Let's go one by one. First of all is the API integration to 100+ small parcel couriers, okay? Integrating a courier to your platform might be expensive, might be a time issue, might be complex. So by connecting to techSHIP or to these carriers through techSHIP, this allows you to quickly, in a matter of minutes, in some cases, set up a connection to a carrier. For example, UPS, Canada Post, USPS, in a very simple and streamlined way. So that's one key element for techSHIP standard. Another element is how techSHIP connects to your WMS, ERP, or shopping cart. techSHIP offers from standard bidirectional integration to your systems. So information can flow into techSHIP from your systems and back to your systems to update on tracking numbers, freight costs, and many other elements. This operation also basically requires no intervention from your end, because these are typically set up by our team based on your information and feedback. And once these are ready, the only thing you need to think about is using techSHIP and pushing your orders into our system to get things rolling. Then we have unlimited users, backstation customers, and billing profiles. This is a huge point. Why? Because many other products charge you by customers, charge you by users and the volume that you have over them, okay? Or by station, licensing by station. So upscaling becomes a problem, because to upscale in that case, depending on the amount of staff you have, the amount of operative points you have, it becomes more and more and more expensive to use. But within techSHIP, you have unlimited amount of users, unlimited amount of packing stations, customers, and billing account profiles through them. Another key element are custom shipping rules at the client level. Each client might have different needs. Okay, it's not the same to have or to ship for a client which is shipping food, that to ship for a client which is shipping car parts, right? So each one of these are going to have their own needs. They might ship through different carriers. They might have different uh, edges when it comes to profit. Okay, and all these can be configured properly, either by arbitrarily using carriers. For example, let's say customer A says, well, we only ship via FedEx and UPS because we trust them. And another client might say, well, we don't do through them because it's too expensive. We do it via USPS and some other regional carrier, right? So you have absolute flexibility of the shipping rules that each one of these might need and the carriers you can assign under them. This takes us a little bit to the next step, which is rate shop across couriers and service levels. There are two ways to rate shop through techSHIP. One of them is cross-carrier rate shopping, okay? That's typically when you compare different carriers at the same time, try to get the best rate for a particular shipment. So for example, you could have USPS, DHL, FedEx, and UPS compete for the shipment. Sometimes your customers might have a trusted carrier, or depending on the scenario, you might trust a carrier more than another one, or a particular carrier might offer a specific service that others don't. But still, within that carrier, you want to get the best shipping cost. Sometimes better services could cost the same or less, depending on your the account of your nature and contract, than a regular option or an arbitrary option. So the whole idea of having another type of rate shopping, which is called eco mode, or coming from economy or economic mode, that you do intra-carrier rate shopping. If you choose UPS, you could have techSHIP say, well, let's try to find the cheapest service within UPS, okay? So rate shopping across carriers or within the carrier is something you have out of the box. Then we have on-demand rate estimates, okay? Sometimes you don't want to process an order straight ahead, but you want to provide a quote for your customer. So in that case, you can choose to estimate the cost before that. Take a look at maybe a rate shop, a cross-carrier rate shopping to see how much they would charge them for which service. And once you have made a decision, you can import the order and choose that particular one. Then we have print return labels on demand. Return labels are a big point as well, especially at this time of year, the end of year, peak season, people returning things they bought on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, 11/11. You might get returns from Christmas time as well. So printing return labels on demand and in just a few clicks saves you a lot of time, effort, and errors as well. So this is a feature that comes straight out of the box with techSHIP Standard, the most basic package that we have. techSHIP also features multi-language support. If you have staff spread across your country, or you have facilities where you have not native speakers, you could perfectly have them use techSHIP in their own native language. techSHIP supports English by default, Spanish, French, and Russian for the moment. Most likely we'll add more languages in the future. But currently, you could have someone within the warehouse using techSHIP in English and someone else using techSHIP in Spanish, with absolute freedom and no bounds one to another. techSHIP Standard also allows you to zone skip. Okay, zone skipping saves a lot of money. And once it's properly set up, it will allow you to access this benefit, okay? So zone skipping is something which is available as well, obviously, once you have your carrier structure properly set up. Another important element is the ability to integrate with any API courier in 3 weeks, okay? There's a note there because it might depend, could be less than that. Obviously we are a little bit subject to the agility that the carriers might have in terms of communicating information and providing documentation. But you won't have to wait for months to integrate to a new carrier. If you come to techSHIP, and within the first point that we just shared, which is this API integrations to 150 plus small parcel couriers, you come with one we don't have in our list. You can open a change request, and we could sit down with you. If the carrier has an API, we're willing to integrate. So we're always happy to onboard new clients and new carriers into our platform. And then also to wrap up, access to Fry programs. Okay, this is unbound to any of the icons that we're seeing here, but you can access Fry programs. You should talk with the sales department and your CSM as well, if you have already onboarded. But yes, you can access to Fry programs and have benefits in terms of shipping cost. Let's jump into techSHIP Plus. techSHIP Plus, techSHIP Plus's idea is to expand your techSHIP standard capabilities, if you start with the package, to add labor-saving shipping rules and make money shipping. Okay, there obviously you're making money by handling your customers' storage and shipping, but you can make money shipping in terms of time and savings with the features included in techSHIP Plus. So let's jump into those. First of all, we need to note that all the features included in techSHIP Standard are going to be present. And to that, we're going to add additional features. The first one of them is Order Management Rules, okay, OMR. These rules allow you to step between the WMS and techSHIP and create rules that detect the information that's coming from the WMS, information and scenarios, and act upon those to perform automatic actions that your WMS or system might not be able to perform, or that it would be too troublesome to perform within your WMS. Typical cases of this would be, for example, to have an OMR rule that for every order over $500, you're going to enable insurance and signature required. That is a really simple rule you can set up in less than 1 minute within techSHIP, and that can save you a lot of money, a lot of effort, and a lot of mistakes. Another typical case for OMR would be forcing orders through a specific carrier given some conditions, or forcing orders under a group for rate shopping. So you can evaluate ship from information, weights and dimensions, basically almost any field coming from the WMS, and based on that, perform actions on different fields and elements within techSHIP. This, combined with the previous rate shopping options and additional ones, allows you to access next generation rate shopping options. For example, not just making a plain rate shopping of, well, compare everything across the board and see what's cheaper, but to actually define really complex and specific granular rules. Maybe you want to ship ground, or you want to take ground into consideration for rate shopping, as long as ground makes it in less than 2 days, because what you're shipping might go bad because it's food, right? So you might want to take a look at transit times and when you're rate shopping, and not just only the cheapest option. You might have contracts with the carriers, and if you go over specific thresholds, the shipments might get too expensive and not be profitable for your margin. So in that case, you could say, well, if my order has more than this amount of packages, use or do not use this particular service, or if it's over a specific weight, dimensions, etc., etc. There's a lot of criteria that you can use to define specific and granular rate shopping rules. You also have user permissions. When you handle user permissions, you can prevent users to access modules they shouldn't, or you could also define your own user structure in a particular way that matches your organization's needs. Based on that, you could say, well, within my company structure, I can define that person A, B, and C have access to this particular module because they're being trained, for example, And once they're good to go and they're fully trained, you could expand those permissions without the need of an administrator on our company side, or without the need of complex operations. User permissions can make things much simpler, trackable, and secure. Then we have API integration to LTL carriers. TechSHIP Plus allows you to integrate together with small parcel carriers, LTL carriers, okay? You can even rate shop one against the other if you have fringe scenarios. So this is a huge feature that also allows to improve the way you zone skip, the way you rate shop, and the way you become capable of shipping different types of goods. Together with this, we also have advanced markup options based on service level, weight, zone, and many other elements. Okay. TechSHIP Plus allows you to define structures based on carriers as a whole, or by service level on specific elements. For example, you could say that you want to have a markup for international orders different than from domestic orders. You could say, depending on your contract, if you have a better rate for a specific service, let's say ground, because of the volume you ship through that you're going to increase your margin and your profit, and say, well, for ground, we don't have a markup of 10%. We have a markup of 25% because we get a huge discount. But for air services, we have a regular markup. Okay, so this is possible with TechSHIP Plus as well. The next element is that you're able to consolidate orders, merging those going to the same address. Okay, it's many times it's inefficient to try to manually consolidate and match orders that go to the same person. Maybe someone that placed several purchases in a really short span of time, or that you might in a manual scenario need to look through a list. You could have TechSHIP say, well, within this batch of 500 orders, consolidate everything that's going to the same person and place. So if these elements match, ship to address and name, and company name could be included as well, you could say, well, if this person ordered 3 things, let's say, for example, a Black Friday sale or Cyber Monday sale, and this person bought something in the morning, then in the afternoon had a little bit more time, ordered something else from the same vendor, and maybe at night, when this person came back home, it took a little bit more time and bought a couple more things. So got a coupon on the meantime and used it at the end, right? So you might end up with 3 different orders going to the same place. TechSHIP can consolidate those in just one click. Also, integrating rates with your customer shopping cart, okay? Depending on the system you're using, this could also be handled this way. And the rates can be integrated back and forth. So TechSHIP knows how it works, and TechSHIP can pass this information back to your system. We also have the desktop packing feature. Okay, sometimes packing at the WMS can be troublesome, might not be the best way to do it based on your processes. So TechSHIP allows you to, within the desktop client, which is one of the applications available to you, even from TechSHIP Standard, to pack as you were in the supermarket at the packing line, rather than just pre-pack everything and go on a pick ticket. So the packing feature is available to you with TechSHIP Plus. Also, if you're doing cross-border, TechSHIP Plus supports ACE Manifest. So if you need to use this feature, it's going to be available for you, generating all the documentation needed to properly integrate to the ACE system. Also, you can specify the client specific retention data. You will have more time to store your client information if needed. And then for ease of setup, you also have a client setup templates. So instead of, let's imagine that you have 60 clients for which you ship, okay? You start using TechSHIP, and you need to build let's say, well, you're going to start with 2 clients, all right? Just to get used to the platform, run a couple of tests, make any adjustments. So once you have 2 in production, you want to say, well, okay, let's go with the other 58. Well, you don't need to repeat everything 58 times. You can set up a template and say, well, let's create these new clients based on that template. So with a couple of clicks, you can do a quick deploy instead of going field by field and operation by operation, setting everything from the ground up without any need, because you know in advance that 99% of what you're going to set up for those particular clients is going to be the same. Maybe the difference is just barely the phone number that's printed in the label, or the email address which is used in the ship from. Okay, or maybe one of the clients has references that another doesn't use, but at least the foundation is the same. So with a prefabricated group of clients covering the scenarios that you might have, in just a couple of clicks, you'll do several things: save a lot of time, prevent a lot of effort, and get things rolling right out of the gate. Finally, we have as an add-on to TechSHIP Plus, cartonization. Cartonization allows you to have the system pick which packaging options are the most efficient to use. Okay, basically for cartonization, what you do is provide the SKU information, dimensions, and code. Provide the packaging options that you have for a client, so TechSHIP knows which packaging options are available, and then choose from 3 algorithms to see or to have the system resolve which packaging combination is the best for the SKUs you're trying to ship. So the guys at the packing line don't need to think too much, and also you don't need to spend on expensive devices like dimensioners or scales, even scales in some cases, if your SKUs have weight. So cartonization can be included within TechSHIP Plus as an add-on, rather than buying the whole TechSHIP Enterprise package, which includes it out of the box. Okay, so this is something you could add if needed. And to wrap up, going to TechSHIP Enterprise. TechSHIP Enterprise is a multi-location model. Okay, it will have all the features of TechSHIP Standard. It will include all the features of TechSHIP Plus, and it will include additional features based on this multi-location model. The first element is that you will have, by default, 2 production portals instead of 1. Okay, this allows you to have multiple locations out of the gate. If you need to add more, there are ways to do that. Okay, but you could have 2 production portals to get started. You could also have, or you will also have, a test portal. So instead of working in a production environment and then migrating everything that you generated in test mode within that production environment, you can have a standalone test portal where you can run any tests and then migrate them to your production portals in a seamless way without any or many interactions in the middle. Okay, that's the whole idea. So the test portal is, again, one of the features included in TechSHIP Enterprise. Then we have the multi-location carrier setup. Okay, given that you'll have more than 1 portal, this means that physically you will have more than 1 warehouse. So the idea is that you can run multi-location carrier setup in a really easy way. In other words, to give a practical example, what you could do is say, well, let's start with our main warehouse. Okay, over there you set up your billing accounts, your carriers, your baseline accounts, your billing accounts. You create everything functional there. And once that's ready, what you can do is migrate and clone the configuration that you have in that portal where everything works to other portals. Okay, within those other portals, once you have cloned that information, the maintenance is basically nothing. You just go in there, change maybe the ship from address just to match that location, and you're ready to go. So you could set up all your portal structure in sometimes in a matter of minutes. So it's super useful and flexible in that sense, to be able to handle this concept of multi-location, especially for the carrier setup, which is where you don't want to make any mistakes. Also, you have share labels usage across all portals. This is something that might be interesting for you to ask um, to the sales team and your CSM. But you can use labels from the same stack through across different portals. Okay. Cartoonization, again, we already mentioned it. So we already have the icon over here. But the icon, this one, sorry, the feature this icon represents is advanced use permissions. Okay. Now, this particular package, techSHIP Enterprise, is the one that allows you to split your customers' visibility. You can give them access as much as you want or need to your techSHIP portal, be it from just viewing their orders and downloading labels if they need so, to maybe generate return labels if that's needed. Okay. And at the same time, isolate them from another type of user, or sorry, from another of your customers' information or portal data. Okay. So you would basically encapsulate your clients within their own realm, but within a single portal. Let's say if you have a location in New Jersey, you operate 60 clients through there. And maybe 10 of those clients are really time consuming when it comes to following up and requesting, for example, return labels, or checking rates, or reviewing quotes, or requesting for estimates, all those operations that could be handled by them rather than by your staff. You could delegate all that by creating this user with limited access, as much as you need, and limited visibility over their own piece of information. Okay. So that's the whole idea behind that. And then to wrap up, single sign-on is already being implemented in some of our products. techSHIP is next in line. So you could have single sign-on logging with the same credentials across all portals. This is really, really useful for regional and higher management, because you could access many portals at the same time with the same sign-on without the need of having separate credentials, or the same set of credentials tied to different portals. Okay, so this is obviously with an enhanced level of security. This is part of it as well. But well, thank you. This has been a tour through all the techSHIP products, Standard, Plus, and Enterprise, and also a quick overview on the benefits of modularity and scalability. We hope that you can make the best out of the current techSHIP package that you have. And if you need to upscale, feel free to reach your CSM or your techSHIP sales manager, and we'll be glad to give you a hand. Thank you for your time. Have a fantastic end of the year and a better beginning of the next one. Bye-bye.